Okay, so before I get into my first thoughts on the Banshees of Inisherin, um, I'm not in my car right now, and that's because it's freaking cold outside. It's snowing, it's freezing, and it's just miserable. So I didn't want to sit in my car and do a review while I was shaking and cold. So I'm home now. I've had some time to think about it and digest this movie, which I'm really glad I did because there's a lot to think about and kind of take in from this film. It's one that kind of sits with you a little bit. It kind of finds its way into your soul, and I like that. I'm a huge fan of Martin McDonagh's work. I love Three Billboards. I absolutely adore Seven Psychopaths. It's one of my favorite movies. I laughed so hard while watching it. It tells a really fun story, but it's also really well done. And In Bruges, I didn't love it the first time I saw it, and then I went back and rewatched it this year and just fell madly in love with that movie. It's so good. And what makes that movie especially good is Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson and their chemistry and just them acting on screen together with their individual talents and their talents together as a pair. It just works so well. And I was so happy to see them coming back together for this movie, especially teaming up with Martin McDonagh again. It was awesome. And I add this movie, The Banshees of Inisherin, to that list of Martin McDonagh movies I love. I have loved every single one of his films. And I really love his style and the way he blends kind of like a more comedic tone with more serious tones and finds ways to really evenly balance that. And he can find ways to make a movie really funny at parts and really tragic in others. And Banshees of Inisherin is no different. It has moments of really funny. It has some really funny moments, some darkly funny moments. But it also, by the end, it leaves you almost depressed in a way. It leaves you sad. It follows basically a breakup between these two friends who live on a small island off the coast of Ireland in the early 1920s. And the one friend just doesn't want to see the other friend anymore. He's over him. He doesn't want to see him. So he just kind of stops talking to him. Other friend doesn't like that, and then eventually we get to this extreme ultimatum where the one friend says he is not gonna if he gets bothered by the one guy anymore, he's gonna cut off a finger for each time. And it goes from there, and it's crazy, but it also just felt very real and human, and it's just so it kind of connected with me in multiple different ways, and I'm still kind of processing how in what ways exactly. I just know that a lot of it just worked so well for me. There was some really funny moments from Colin Farrell especially. I loved Barry Keoghan's character, and he was so funny here. Um like Brendan Gleeson's great too. He is almost menacing in this movie. But I loved the way all these actors work together. The story that was told. It's not like this grand big story. It's a simple story about two friends or two ex-friends in this case. Um, and I just really liked it. It kind of gets into some basic truths about life, and I thought it was great. There's a lot to love about this movie. It's very well made. McDonagh directs it to perfection. The cast is wonderful. I love Colin Farrell. He's so good here. And Brendan Gleeson's good. Barry Keoghan's good. What's her name? I can't remember the name of the female star of this one. She was so good. I loved her character. And they don't show her enough in the trailers, but she was great. But really, yeah, this is Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson's show again, and it's so good. Really well written. Some really funny moments. Some really heartfelt moments. Some really sad moments. It's tragic in a way. And it's just I loved it. There's a lot to really like about this movie. It worked so well for me. It's one of my favorites this year. It's just something really special. You don't get a lot of movies like this anymore. That's just a simple human story like this, even though we get some extremes there. But yeah, it's really good. I liked it a lot, even though I came out of it sad. It was I'd highly recommend seeing this. Great cinematography, great editing, great music, great acting, great writing, great directing, great everything. It's like 5 stars. How you can't get movies better than this. It's really well done. If you haven't seen any Martin McDonagh's movies, highly recommend checking them out, and definitely check out The Banshees of Inisherin in theaters. You won't regret it. Trust me.